Hi, my name is Taylor Maldonado, and this is how literature has influenced my life, a timeline. We'll begin in the year 2000, when I was 2 years old and starting to show interest in things. And I was interested in things like dinosaurs and sea creatures. And then we fast forward to 2007, and by this point, I am a strong reader and learning about other cultures through books. 2011, in middle school, we have authors and significant people who lived through great historical occurrences to give presentations to us at school. 2014, I'm in high school and we're studying heavily World War II and US history, and this piques a whole new interest. And then current day, my interest and influences and how they've influenced who I am now. So we have 2000 to 2006. Literature in some form has always influenced me. As a child at the age of 2, I would say I wanted to be a paleontologist slash whale trainer. My greatest passion in my young life was dinosaurs and anything to do with them. I had books and movies and toys. My favorite, of course, was The Land Before Time. To me, it told me a story of a time before me and how creatures lived on our planet. I would also get any age appropriate and some probably above my reading level, such as things like the dinosaur encyclopedias. Illustrated, of course. As I grew up, I didn't love to read, but if I could find anything on something that had to do with my interest, I would grab it immediately. In first grade, I challenged myself to memorize a book called Mabel the Whale. I like to believe this book has always had a deep connection with me and how I have lived my life with the idea that no one, animals included, need room to grow, and the more room you give someone, the happier they're going to be. As a society, we try to control everyone and tell everyone they need to fit into perfect little boxes. And we are seeing negative effects due to this. Whereas when we give someone a large area to be who they truly are, we see them flourish. Here I've included the book from 1958, which is not when I got it, some whales, some paleontology, and of course, The Land Before Time. At this age, from 2007 to 2010, I am 9 to 12. I am now receiving books as gifts and getting interested in things we were studying in school and how they have affected us to this day. I remember celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day in second grade and doing a project on his I Have a Dream speech, as well as watching Our Friend Martin, and getting a glimpse of what the world could have been like had the civil rights movement never occurred. By this being such a prominent turning point in my life, because of literature, it has set my life down a path of critical thinking and questioning who I surround myself with. I was also becoming aware of the fact that our bubble of the United States wasn't the only thing out there. I received a book called The English Roses, written by Madonna, and it is set in and about girls in England. They spoke differently, they used different phrases and colloquialisms, for everything, and to have been exposed to these things so young has always felt very important and such a privilege to me. 2011 to 2013, I am in middle school, and I went to Shoreline Middle School in Santa Cruz, California, and we would often have author spotlights where a more local book author would come and have an assembly with us and let us ask questions about things we would read about and then do a book signing. This was such an amazing opportunity that we got to have as students to meet authors of books we were reading and connecting with. It really brought you to a new level and would pique an interest to keep learning more about the subjects you're reading. In 8th grade, we were learning US history, and as well in our English class, reading about historical events authors lived through. In my English class, we had a guest speaker to come. We had a guest speaker come and tell her story about her time living as a Jewish person in Nazi Germany. Her story truly moved us and really made us connect to the words on pages we were reading to a real person. This type of teaching creates empathy for young minds to really understand how people use literature to express themselves to you. Here I have a book that we read. It was Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl, and that's when we had a speaker come. And then we also had Francisco Jimenez come, and he was the author who would do the signing and speak to us. And here I've included the Santa Cruz Sentinel writing on when Francisco Jimenez came and what he kind of talked to us about, which I thought was really interesting to have found when I was finding his time at Shoreline Middle School. He told us to stay in school and all that. I thought it was just really cool that I was able to include that here. From 2012 to 2018, I was in high school and then also my first 2 years of college, which were at a community college. In high school, we started to focus on analyzing what the literature we were reading was trying to tell us, and it was always interesting to see the differences each of us found within the same sets of words in a book. In 9th grade, we were studying Romeo and Juliet and had to recreate scenes reinterpreted. Most scenes were designed for 2+ people in a group, and then my teacher also had scenes for single people to work as well, and she felt that I had a good understanding on the text that she asked me to take on this role. It was not easy, but it did push me out of my comfort zone to really work and connect with this reading. Throughout my high school years, I was very fortunate to have gotten the same history teacher, and he really inspired me to want to learn in his classes as well as outside. I ended up not getting him in my senior year of high school, and so I signed up for honors government and econ classes, as by this point my knowledge and writing skills have advanced, and I felt confident enough by my senior year to take on more challenging classes, and I would not have been able to do this had I not had prior influence surrounding literature the 3 years prior. Here I've included Night by Elie Wiesel, as that was really a big one from Nazi Germany in World War II that we read in my sophomore year of English, that we connected with and wrote letters to Elie Wiesel for connecting with the author. We did Romeo and Juliet, and then I've also included white privilege piece here because we did study that very intensely in my senior English class. And then I've also included a photo of the history teachers that influenced me so much here. And then 2019 to present day, I now find enjoyment in reading and find myself reading things like Harry Potter and books that have to do with social rights. If anyone asks if there's one book I would recommend, I always tell them The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. This book not only hit home for me coming from a house with a Mexican-American father in the prison system, but also makes you really look at our country and how it is still treating people of color. I find that when reading literature that directly contrasts with a narrative you have heard your whole life, such as America is the best country in the world, it really makes you sit and think about that statement and look beyond yourself. Here I've included books like Harry Potter, The New Jim Crow, and America Exceptionalism as it stands today. So what has literature taught me and how it intersects with my life? What I have found literature has taught me is to be absolutely who I am. I am empathetic, inquisitive, raw, and challenging. I believe I have followed a path to wanting to help people because of types of books and role models I have had through literature in my life, and today I stand as a psychology major and a first-generation college student in my family who looks forward to working to make the world a better place for those who are underprivileged one day. Thank you.